Howdy, everyone. Frankie here, New West Reset. Hello, how's it going? Welcome back, and thank you very much for joining me here for another one, another live one, as a matter of fact. New West Reset Live, episode 164 here today on this Sunday, March the 29th, 2026. Just a wee bit past 5 p.m. That's local time, mountain time. Because as per usual, coming at you live from the foothills of the Canadian Rocky Mountains, right here in southwestern Alberta, Calgary, Alberta, up in Canada land there, eh, buddy? And yeah, it's supposedly spring, but definitely feels like spring in Canada, close to the Rocky Mountains anyways. Yikes. It's not terribly cold, -5 right now, which I think is 25 Fahrenheit, give or take. But we had a few inches of snow here a couple of days ago. A couple of days in a row, it snowed for a couple hours. And it's, it's not the best. So, yeesh, yikes, yikes, yikes. I hope you're all doing well. So, for the show tonight, as mentioned, episode 164, we're going to be looking at canals and waterways of New York State between the years 1899 and 1914, give or take. There may be a couple earlier than that and a couple that kind of snuck in a bit, post WW1 maybe, but in that ballpark. And these are from the dcmny.org, their online archives collection, so links below for that. As per usual, we'll look into a little bit of these waterways, these canals, a little bit of the official his story. We'll take a mid-show break, and then when we come back, got some fantastic photos to share with you. Most of them are in postcard form, but what I tried to do is only feature the postcards, for the most part, in a high 90s percentile. Feature postcards that have just an unaltered photo as the postcard, as opposed to it being colorized or enhanced in some way. I try to get at the real meat and potatoes, the nitty gritty. Try to get unaltered as possible. I'm all about the unaltered around here. I'm not a fan of the AI. So that's like with my vintage footage videos on Wednesdays. I try to find the original raw footage of the old-timey videos that I put up. Same thing goes for the little trailers at the beginning of the live stream, as you're waiting for me to go live. Try to use the original raw footage. It's just better that way because AI is still stupid and it screws things up. So, as always, links below as mentioned for everything that we're going to cover, as well as how you can get a hold of a fella. BitChute, email, and of course, YouTube and Rumble. And as always, we're broadcasting live simultaneously on both the HooTubes and the Bumble. So welcome, everyone. Thanks for winding down your weekend. It's yours truly here on the Sunday Funday Show. Woo! If you haven't already, please do all the things just to help a fella out. It just helps to push me out into the algorithm. Appreciate that, as always. Thanks to everybody who's already shared and subscribed. Make sure you still subscribed. There's shenanigans, as per usual, going on with the HooTubes.
Shenanigans.
Be that as it may. Again, thank you very much for being here. Appreciate it. Let's say howdy to everybody in the chat, in the box. See how everyone's doing. Hope you're enjoying your weekend so far, or what's left of it anyways. Maybe it's Monday for you. It is. Yeesh. Oof. Happy Monday, I guess. KJ's here. Kinley Jackson. Good to see you, bud. Teresa Gregory's in the box as well. Hey, there's Ross from Water the Tree down in Kansas City, Missouri. He's the brick guy. He just kind of reaches down and move some dirt and some leaves out of the way, and oh look, a brick pulls it out of the ground. Oh look, it's got a stamp on it. It's amazing. Good to see you, Russ. There's Russell. Hello, hello. How you doing? Tommy Rogers is here. Hello, Tommy. Howdy, Kathy. Kathy Broughton in the box from the Bluegrass State, don't you know? Sherry Ives is here. Hello, Sherry. Hi ho to you. Hippie Shake. Howdy, hippie. Buongiorno, buonasera, scusi. Buonasera, signori. Good to see you. Roberto, hello. Thanks for being here, everybody. Appreciate it. Channel 53 in the box. Hate AI vids. Yeah, it's bad enough when it's AI imagery or video, but then when it's got the AI narrative voice too. It's like, what am I talking to? Hal 9000 from 2001: A Space Odyssey or something? Actually, I shouldn't even say that because Hal's voice was more expressive than a lot of the AI voice jargon and junk, filthy pig Latin. Anyways, there's Kathy over on Rumble. BMW chick. Hello. Thanks, Kathy. Appreciate that. So again, thanks for being here, everyone. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Teresa says, love postcards. Yeah, you know what's kind of cool is on a lot of these too, somebody's scribbled a little message on the front with the photo, as well as I'm sure have written a longer message on the back where you put your postage and so on. So we're getting some nice little handwritten notes, just like, hello, mother, I'm doing well. We'll write again soon or whatever, right? So that's kind of neat. It's kind of neat. All right, so before we get into this thing, a few channel notes here. Spring is officially here, but as mentioned, there's snow on the ground. Normally, I like to, with the vintage footage videos the aforementioned that go up every Wednesday, I like to keep it, with the seasons, at least around where I am. So if it's summer here, I'm going to put up vintage footage videos of summer. If it's winter, I'll do that. Technically, it's spring, but when I look out my window, nope, not with, 3 or 4 inches of snow, almost 10 centimeters of snow out there. It's supposed to start, it's melted a bit, and it's supposed to start melting a lot more in the next few days. We just got to get through this, below 0 Celsius stuff. But with that said, this coming Wednesday is going to be the last video with snow in it. All right, there, I said it. There. After that, it's going to be spring-related vintage footage video. So for all of you that are like, okay, at the beginning of winter, the snow videos, your vintage footage, old black and white videos of stuff happening in the Victorian area with the snow, it's beautiful. But yeah, by the time we're getting toward the end of winter, it's not so much like a beautiful picture postcard anymore. I'm tired of looking at it. It's enough with the snow, Frankie. So this coming Wednesday is the last one with the snow. Actually, no, not even. Tonight will be the last one with the snow, because this upcoming Wednesday is going to be the Easter vintage footage for, Friday being Good Friday and Sunday being Easter Sunday. So the Wednesday before Good Friday, the vintage footage video will be Easter themed. So yeah, there you go. I'm not even gonna there it is. But tonight you're gonna get, so I don't spoil the Easter video, tonight you're gonna get a winter video. Hey, you know what? Misery loves company. And if I gotta suffer through this snow, I'm taking some of you down with me. That's right. Anyway, enough goofing around. Thank you very, very much for being here. Other projects, just finishing up the last little bit on the director's cut of Reset 1700, my mudflood documentary. Going to be adding in a little bit of deleted footage. Going to be redoing the audio. It was banned on YouTube, so I'm going to do a director's cut redo and fix the stuff that caused it to be banned and for me to get my strike on my channel. So keep your ocular sphericals locked onto the channel here for that. Hit the bell for the notifications that, don't work, but it's worth a shot, I guess. And Cousin Vinny and I've mentioned a couple times here, me and Cousin Vinny are working on something behind the scenes as well, some tearing down of an old world school narrative that's got some shenanigans in it that Cousin Vinny spotted with his sharp eye. It's sharp. And that's some old school out in Saskatchewan. That's right. Say it with me now. Saskatchewan. Saskatchewan. And a bunch of other stuff. I've already started kicking around and mulling around in the guy's old brain pan here when I'm going to be doing the next meetup. I like to do it in the summertime. I'm thinking it's going to be June, but probably more like July. And the reason for that is it tends to rain a lot here in June. Those April showers bring May flowers. Yeah, we don't get April showers here. We sometimes still get snow in April. So we get the rain in June. So I'm thinking July when it warms up quite a bit and the rain is not so imposing. We're not getting the hailstorms and thunderstorms as much as we do in the mid June and the end of June. July is just tornado season, but that's fine. We can handle a couple of tornadoes. That's okay. It's not a big deal. And if you're just saying to yourself, wait, I thought you lived up in Canada land, Frankie. You get tornadoes up there? Damn skippy we do, partner. Damn skippy we do. So we're looking at probably July, probably the mid-July, the week after the Calgary Stampede, the big rodeo that we have here. Yeah, that's right. I said it. We have tornadoes and we have cowboys with rodeos here in southern Alberta. What do you think of them apples, huh? 10 days of one of the world's biggest rodeos. But anyways, after that hubbub and hullabaloo is over and done with, we're doing a meetup. And I've decided on where. The old Mission District, just south of 17th Avenue Southwest. I'm going to pull up the goggle machine on the maps and show you a quick, fast, and in a hurry here exactly where I'm talking about. Just to give you a little bit of an idea and also a bit of a heads up. There's been a few people that have expressed some interest in perhaps meeting up at some point. So let me just find the spot here. Bear with me for a moment. The reason I chose this is because 17th Avenue Southwest was at one time the old town of Calgary border. Everything south of that wasn't within the city or the town limits at all. And therefore, a bunch of French Canadian Catholic Jesuits, yes, the JCs, they came out here and they started a mission. They built a Roman Catholic cathedral, a parish hall, a convent, a school, and a few other old structures. So let me share that with you and show you exactly what I'm talking about here. So this is where we're going to be meeting. Rouleauville, that was the name of the old Mission District. It was called Rouleauville. We're going to meet at Rouleauville Square, which is on the intersection of 17th Avenue Southwest, formerly Notre Dame Road. Oh, that's right. Fancy. Ooh la 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 la. And this, I believe, is what? 2nd Street? 1st Street. 1st Street Southwest, formerly Scarth Street. Right by this weird refacaded old mud flutter with the redneck skylight windows in it. Don't those look pretty? Nope, not one bit. This is historic 1st Street, which I've shown quite a few buildings that I've featured on the channel here. So the corner of 17th Avenue and 1st Street Southwest, Rouleauville. You can see a little bit of the stone parish hall here in the background. Later, it became a train station. Now it's the Alberta Ballet, I believe. You can see the Roman Catholic Cathedral here. This is the newer version built in the 50s. They tore down the one built in the 1880s, of course. Structurally unsafe. So look out, everybody. But anyway, this is going to be the meeting spot right here, Rouleauville Square, 17th Avenue and 1st Street, Southwest Calgary. And we're looking at mid-July. So if you're interested, there's a lot to look at there. Would love to have you meet up. Grab a beverage or a coffee or wobbly pop or something. Grab a bite to eat. Then we'll do a walkabout of the historic area. I'll take some video footage as well. And then we'll wind down the day with, another bite to eat or a snack or something or a meal, whatever. And maybe another wobbly pop or two or whatever, if you don't drink, I don't know. You can have a cranberry juice or clamato juice or tomato juice. I don't know. I don't know what your deal is. It's fine. It's all on me anyway. It's going to be my treat. We'll be handing out T-shirts, New West Reset T-shirts. I'll bring some New West Reset schmutz trucker hats. And it'll just be a fun day of trudging around and exploring the old Mission District just off of the Red Mile, 17th Avenue Southwest. So again, more announcements as we get closer. So keep it locked onto the channel here. And again, thank you very much once again for joining me. Baja's here and says, I'm going to move to Nunavut. Terribly cold up there. Wow. Very, very, very cold. Had a whack week last week. Oh, that's a bummer. Sorry to hear that. Chin up, keep a stiff upper lip and all those other expressions that don't really help. Well, I don't know. AC/DC had that song, Stiff Upper Lip. That was pretty good. Stiff upper lip. That wasn't bad. It wasn't their best, but it wasn't their worst. We're also saying the wind is absurd there. Down in Missouri, Kansas City, Missouri, it's really windy for us on and off right now. We're getting our spring Chinook winds, the warm wind that blows over the Rocky Mountains from the west, off the warm Pacific Ocean. It comes over the Rockies, and as it ends up on the eastern slopes of the Rockies where I am, and into the foothills here, just where the flat prairies sort of begin, that's where Calgary is, right where the rolling foothills end and the sort of flatness of the prairies start, where they grow all the wheat and the canola and the corn and the barley and the alfalfa and the hay and the straw and all that stuff. So as a result, it gets really windy, but it's a warm wind, even in the winter. That's why we get those warm spells where all of a sudden the wind pushes all the clouds to the east. We get big blue skies up above, and the temperature goes above 0 Celsius, and the snow melts, and it can last for up to a week, sometimes even a bit longer. But it's windy. That's the drawback, is it's windy. A lot of people get headaches and earaches, all that garbage. It's not the best. It's not the best. Absolutely not. Old World Mi'kmaq in the box. Howdy. Good to see you. Quay Nitap. But yeah, that's Nunavut would be cold. Colder than a witch's elbow. I'll tell you what. Mr. Infinite. Howdy, howdy. Good to see you. Dragon Sage is here. How's she going there, bud? Sig Sar is here. Hello, Sig. Good to see you. All right, and then, of course, other projects always in the works here. And by the way, as usual, if you've got any show ideas for the live show, or if you're familiar with Calgary or the area, and you're like, hey, Frankie, have you ever checked out such and such over in that part of Calgary? And I haven't. Let me know. Drop me an email, leave a comment or what have you. And I'll definitely check it out. It'd be my pleasure. And as mentioned, if you have any topics of discussion here for the live show, I take those and welcome them with open arms as well. I often feature the photographs that you've shared or different story ideas or links that you've sent me for the live show. So yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Sage says, I'm still in St. John's, Newfoundland. Oh, Lord Thunder nearby. It's the windiest place in Canada. It's pretty windy. But from what I understand, southwestern Alberta is actually the windiest place in Canada and one of the windiest in the world, they say, especially down around Pincher Creek and Lethbridge. That's, and I mean, I've been down there. My sister and brother-in-law, a couple of their childrens live down in that area-ish. And yeah, man, it's windy down there. Crazy windy. It's closer to the mountains, and just the way the mountain ranges are, whether the wind's coming from the north or the west, it's funneled and pushed through in a northwesterly direction, and it shoots down southeasterly, and it just hits that whole area. That's why they get a lot of snow down there, but the snow drifts really deep too. Ooh, man, it's crazy. It's crazy. Like your entire street's got to help you shovel your driveway, and then you help your neighbor, and they help their neighbors, and so on. Otherwise, you'd be there all day trying to shovel your own driveway by yourself. Catch a heart attack doing stuff like that there, bud. Anyway, enough goofing around. Thanks for being here. Let's get the show on the road. Once again, as mentioned, thank you for joining me here for the live show, episode 164. We're looking at canals and waterways of old New York State, approximately between 1899 and 1914. And again, these are from the dcmny.org. These are early 20th century postcards depicting the Erie Canal, Champlain Canal, Barge Canal, and other waterways, such as the Hudson River, and then canal feeders and tributaries. So very interesting. What do you say we quickly just pull up so I can share it with you? The DCMNY homepage, just so you can see what the dealio is with this. And this is like a font of interesting stuff here. I've gone to this well many times. You just hit the browse collections, and it opens up, and they've got all kinds of stuff. We've looked at some of the photographic collections from here before. Recently looked at these medicine calling cards with the little liver pills and whatnot. So yeah, there's just all kinds of interesting stuff in here. We've looked at this White Plains Public Library, White Plains, New York before as well. Bunch of stuff. So yeah, if you're into like old newspapers, old periodicals, all kinds of stuff, I would definitely encourage you to check it out and see what's what on that, because it's very, very interesting. And there's a lot of stuff. Dragon Sage says, I'm so ready for spring weather. Yeah. West to east, predominantly on wind and weather, says Mr. Infinite. Yes, I would agree with that, especially around here. Although we do get a lot of wind that comes from the north. But then oddly enough, in the eastern part of the country, Canada, and I'm sure in the US as well, they get those nor'easters, the wind that blows in from the northeast. And ooh, that's like a kick in the pants, right between the legs, right from Mother Nature. Right from Old Man Winter. It's the worst tag team ever. It's Old Man Winter and Mother Nature tag teaming, and they're just laying the boots to you in the old squared circle, in the old wrestling ring. Hippie Shake says, Frankie, Canada weather sounds brutal. Well, it's extremes, right? And it's geographically, it just depends where you are, where you live. Close to the mountains, the weather's very unpredictable. I'd hate to be a weather forecaster here in Calgary or in southern Alberta in general. Like, oh, it's going to be sunny and warm today, and 20 minutes later, there's a hailstorm, or it gets super windy, or there's a tornado, or whatever, right? It just comes out of the blue because we're so close to the mountains, and we're pretty high up in elevation as far as cities are concerned. Calgary, we're close to Denver in terms of above sea level. the old Mile High City or what have you. The old 2.2 kilometer high city, whatever the conversion is, the goofy metric. Cousin Vinny, there he is. There's Vincent on Freemason. Good to see you, Cousin Vinny. Hello. Hello.
So, Tommy, where have you been, huh? I've been watching Newest Reset. Huh? Oh, it's Newest Reset. It's just thing on YouTube. He goes around, he does his boots on the ground thing. They'll tell you.
So link below for the dcmny.org, as well as this Wikipedia we're going to quickly look at here, the Wikipedia article for just the New York State Canal System itself, just in general terms. New York State Canal System. The New York State Canal System, formerly known as the New York State Barge Canal, is a successor to the Erie Canal and other canals within New York. The 525-mile or 845-kilometer system is composed of the Erie Canal, the Oswego Canal, the Cayuga-Seneca Canal, and the Champlain Canal. I mean, again, you'll have to give me some wiggle room here on these pronunciations and forgive my sheltered, ignorant Canadianisms. In 2014, the entire system was listed as a National Historic District on the National Register of Historic Places. And in 2016, it was designated a National Historic Landmark. The entire canal system is a landmark. And I know with those landmarks, they usually put up signs and plaques and all of that. So along the canal system, how spaced apart are they going to put their signs, their propaganda, their official his story in signage and placard form? Every mile, every half mile, every, 100 yards, I don't know. And then who flips the bill for that? The U.S. taxpayer, I reckon. The Erie Canal connects the Hudson River to Lake Erie. The Cayuga-Seneca Canal connects Seneca Lake with Cayuga Lake to the Erie Canal, and the Oswego Canal connects Erie Canal to Lake Ontario, and the Champlain Canal connects the Hudson River to Lake Champlain. I went to elementary school in Montreal called Champlain Elementary. Oh, here we go, the official his story. In 1903, New York State Legislature authorized construction of the New York State Barge Canal as an improvement of the Erie, Oswego, and Champlain and Cayuga area canals. In 2005, construction of the Barge Canal began. It was completed in 1918, so 13 years, lucky 13, eh? At a cost of $96.7 million in 1900s dollars. Early 1900s dollars. I can't even fathom 98 million back in the 19-odds and 19-teens. What would that be in today's money? Billions, I guess. Billions. That's, wow. It opened through traffic May 15th, 1918. The Barge Canal's new route.
It's hot route. What is hot route?
Sorry. I can't help it. So it took advantage of rivers such as the Mohawk River, Oswego River, Seneca River, Genesee River, and Clyde River. Right turn, Clyde. That the original Erie Canal builders had avoided, thus bypassing some major cities formerly on the route, such as Syracuse and Rochester. However, Particularly in western New York State, the canal system uses the same enlarged channel as the original Erie Canal. In 1924, the Barge Canal built the Gowanus Bay Terminal in Brooklyn to handle canal cargo. Since the 1970s, the state has ceased modernizing the canal due to a shift to truck transport. The canal is preserved primarily for historical and recreational purposes. Today, very few commercial vessels use the canal. It's mainly used by private pleasure boats, although it also serves as a method of controlling floods. The last regularly scheduled commercial ship operating on the canal was the De Peckinpah, which ceased operation in 1994. Wow. Howdy, Sandra. That's Yas Gurley in the box. Hello, good to see you. Since 1992, the Barge Canal is no longer known by the name. Individual canals in New York State, formerly collectively known as the Barge Canal, are now referred to by their original names, Erie and so on. Today, the system's canals are 12 feet or 3.7 meters deep and 120 feet or 37 meters wide. With 57 electrically operated locks that can accommodate vessels up to 2,000 tons or 1,800 metric tons. The canal system is open for navigation generally from May 1st through to November 15th. Payment of a fee for a permit is required to traverse the law. Oh, of course. Of course, you got to pay a fee to get a permit. Of course. I remember as a kid, friends of my mom and dad had a small pleasure yacht. Nothing super fancy or super big, but, big enough. Fancy enough, I guess. I don't know, 25 feet or something. I don't know. I was like 8 years old, man. But anyways, we used to go on cruises and on the St. Lawrence Seaway and different canals in and around Montreal and going through the lock. And basically that's what it is. They swing open these gates and your boat goes in and they close the gates and they unlock they basically let water out and unlock, the spillway, and you slowly lower down. And then you go to a next lock and down you go. It's like stairs for your boat, basically. And it's to avoid the rapids and all that sort of thing, or waterfalls. Used to be back in the day that they used to have to portage that, right? Or push or drag your vessel, your sea vessel, your water vessel over land and down and around rapids and waterfalls and stuff. So even the locks themselves, very sophisticated. You know what I mean? Anyways, then they get into funding, maintenance, all that sort of stuff. So the canal system itself, basically, 03 to 1918-ish. Just want to quickly jump over to Erie Canal here, because this is the one that raises a lot of eyebrows. It's a historic canal in upstate New York that runs east-west between Hudson River and Lake Erie. Completed in 1825. The canal was the first navigable waterway connecting the Atlantic Ocean to the upper Great Lakes above Niagara Falls, vastly reducing costs of transporting people and goods across the Appalachians. Erie Canal was accelerated the settlement of the Great Lakes region, westward expansion of the United States, and the economic ascendancy of New York State. It was first proposed in the 1780s. Who stood up and just proposed that, by the way? Governor DeWitt Clinton, apparently. Just like, hey, guys, what do you say we get a bunch of horses and carts and guys, and we just manually dig out this massive canal to, connect the Atlantic Ocean with the Great Lakes? Oh, it sounds like a capital idea, sir. Let's get started right away. Wow. And I mean, you saw the size of this thing, how wide it is and how deep it is. It's pretty, I don't know. I was going to say impressive, but I don't think impressive covers it. So I'm going to go with.
I don't believe you.
I mean, I believe that there's a canal there. I mean, I believe it was built. I mean, it's there. You can go there. I've been on similar canals and through locks, similar as mentioned. But this whole thing is, it was done in this miraculous amount of time, right when they say that people had, like all kinds of illnesses and life expectancy was much shorter, and people were trying to scratch out a living, and all of that stuff. It was getting tougher and tougher to make ends meet, Channel 53 says that had to be a horrible job to do hungover. Wow, yeah, that would not be the best. Definitely would not be the best. I would agree with that. Yeah, Mr. Infinite says they've done a great job of writing the pre-existing structures out of history. Yeah, creating a new narrative around everything. Dragon Sage, the Welland Canal and locks are amazing too. Is that in Ontario? Or is that in Michigan or Illinois? Illinois. I know it's not Illinois. You find it Illinoising when I pronounce it Illinois, though. Oh, it's in Ontario. Okay. Okay, there you go. So I don't know. I mean, I think a lot of the things that they call rivers are actually canals, because you can see that each bank it doesn't look like a natural, sloping earth with, vegetation and little frogs and, cattails and dragonflies and hummingbirds. You know what I'm saying? And raccoons and beavers. It's usually some kind of, eventually they come back and they use concrete or something, but it's usually some kind of stones or blocks or bricks. It's rarely just pounded earth for canals. So not only are you having to remove all that earth, logistically, you have to haul it away. So it's not just the digging it out manually. I mean, later on, you had steam shovels. Sure, absolutely. I get it. But initially, before steam shovels were invented, I mean, you had guys had to dig this stuff out by hand, pick and shovel and whatever. Spade shovels and all of that. Basically like mining, but instead of a tunnel, it's a trench. But then you got to, hoist it into the back of a horse-drawn cart made out of wood and iron. And you usually have a team of 2 or maybe 4 horses. And then, and off it goes. But then you got to take that earth somewhere. Where does that dirt go? Are they using it to pile up on the sides? Well, not that we're seeing. Again, it's brick or stone or some kind of masonry lined, generally speaking, quite uniform in width. Right? They get right down to the exact foot or meter in the Wikipedia article. So, I mean, all of this has to be taken into account. And then you go, oh, and it was 500 miles and they did it in 13 years. Well, 13 years sounds plausible until you start trying to factor in all of this and how many men and the tools. And where do all these men stay? Where do they eat? Where do they take a leak and take a dump while they're working? It's not like today where you have a bunch of porta potties delivered to a job site, and once the work's done, the company loads them up and hauls them away. And then, I mean, you're working on the canal. At some point, you're going to be out in the middle of nowhere, BF nowhere, because you're between towns. You're just going to, I guess, camp it out. So pack your pup tent like you're a freaking Boy Scout to help build the Erie Canal. It's just, I don't know. I think these are pre-existing infrastructure. I think much like they let slip out once in a while, I think in the old world, People didn't view waterways as obstacles that had to necessarily be overcome all the time. A lot of times, I think the waterways were used as systems and modes of transportation. It's not much to make yourself a dugout canoe. Just ask old world Mi'kmaq. The overwhelming majority of these canals were for barges. It's not for these big ocean liners. So it was more locally used by, common folks, regular people. You might not have a car, but if you live close to the canal, well, you might have a boat because you could probably build your own boat. Or somebody in your family could build a boat, or you could hire a local guy to build you a boat. And then, generally on one side, but sometimes on both sides of a canal, you had a footpath for the mule or the horse, the beast of burden, that would pull the tow rope that pulled these barges up and down these canals. It's not like you had a Mercury outboard engine on these things. So, I mean, there's just a lot to consider. So, in that sense, even when they say 13 years, almost a decade and a half, I still think they've messed with the timeline on that. If they, in fact, built it at all, it was probably a matter of discovering it and trying to get the darn thing up and running again. Reverse engineering and figuring out how stuff worked, figuring out how the locks worked. Anyway, with that said, we're coming up on 3/4 of an hour here, creeping up to the top of the hour. So what do you say we take a mid-show break now at this point, and then when we come back, we'll have a look at the photographs and we'll quit, jaw-jacking about the canals and actually have a look at some of these old canals and waterways from New York State, and again from 1899 to 1914. So if you're new to the channel, or as a nice reminder for you, every Wednesday I upload a video that I call Vintage Footage Video. I put it together with some music, and I put that up every Wednesday. I try to find, the older the better, old footage. And as mentioned, I try to use the raw original film if I can. No AI, no speed corrected, none of that stuff. So that goes up every Wednesday, and I like to preview it here on the Sunday live show for you. Friday, I do boots on the ground, and then every Sunday back here, as mentioned, for the live. Now, this upcoming Wednesday, which is April the 1st, is actually going to be the Vintage Footage Easter video. Old-timey Easter footage from, I believe, the 1920s in rural Quebec. With that said, I don't want to spoil the Easter for you because it's already going to be a couple of days before Good Friday and, 4 or 5 days before Easter Sunday. So with that said, I've got the very last vintage footage video for this year, well, for the season until next winter, that has snow in it. So yeah, we're going to go with this one instead, the snowy one. That's right, rubbing your nose in it, eh? This is a Winter in Ottawa from 1940. It's a short one, but it's a sweet one. 2.5 minutes long. Smoke them if you got them. Put your ear goggles on. Turn it up to 11. And we'll see you on the other side of 2.5 minutes. All right, everyone. Cheers. And we are back. Welcome back, everyone. Howdy. Frankie here, New West Reset. Thank you very much once again joining me here for another one. Another live one, as a matter of fact. New West Reset Live, episode 164 here today. We're going to be looking at old canals and waterways of New York State between roughly 1899 and 1914. So these are early 20th century postcards depicting the Erie Canal, Champlain Canal, Barge Canal, and other waterways like the Hudson River and other canal feeders and tributaries. And again, I tried to edit down the file that's from the DCMNY online archives down to postcards that had photos that were unaltered if and when I could, unless something was super spectacular and there wasn't another postcard that used the real photo, it had been colorized or something ready for mass print, mass production. Then, if I didn't have a choice, I didn't have a choice. Anyway, thank you very much for joining me here for another one. I really appreciate all of your support. If you haven't already, please do all the things. Thanks to all of you who've already subscribed, already shared. If you're watching this after the live, I really appreciate all of your support as well. Hope everybody in the box is doing well. What do you think of that old footage? The last vintage footage video you're going to get until the first day of winter. Way off in December. So the last one with snow in it. There you go. Hippie Shake says, wow, interesting to see all the old vehicles dealing with the snow. Yeah. Apparently the old Model Ts and Model As were pretty good at handling terrible conditions. Like mud, ice, snow. They were pretty good. Dragon Sage says jazzy. Yeah, nice jazzy guitar. Lonnie Johnson style. Samuel the Rock Morton in the box says they were having a blast. The young ones, they can usually find the silver lining. Once you get to be old and jaded like the rest of us, then winter gets old pretty quick. You're out there having to shovel it. You're not the one playing in it. You're the one shoveling it. So thanks again for joining me here. As mentioned, links below for everything we covered at the top half of the show, as well as how you can get a hold of a fella, email, BitChute, and of course, Rumble and YouTube. Broadcasting live simultaneously on both. So howdy to everyone on Rumble and on YouTube. Howdy to Martin over on Rumble. Howdy to BMW Chick on Rumble as well. Good to see all of you here. We've got Roberto is here. Tommy Rogers in the box. Kathy Broughton. Dragon Sage and Hippie Shake. Ross, Water the Tree. Good to see all of you here. Teresa and Sig. As mentioned, Samuel's here as well. Channel 53. Mr. Infinite is here. There's Yas Gurley. Really appreciate all your support, everyone. So what do you say we have a look at some of these old photographs? I've got... That's a pretty good size file. So we should probably quit goofing around and get at it here. What do you think? Let's see what we've got going on. These are in no particular order. And they were pretty good with labeling them for the most part. Maybe not the year the original photo was taken, or even necessarily the year of the postcard on the item itself. So I just downloaded the photos. I didn't worry too much about the info. But again, you can easily find these in that link below for dcmny.org. There's a trolley bridge over a canal and river at Lyons, New York. Sponsored by More and More Pub. That's a good way to get some advertising, I guess. As Ross, Water the Tree, mentioned earlier in the chat, I was scrolling and I couldn't find it, but I remember the comment is that they call his canals up in Kansas City, they call them rivers. And I think that's the case with a lot of rivers, actually. There's the waterfront, waterfront Buffalo, New York. Look at this. Amazing. Buffalo was something else, man. Buffalo was something else back in the day. This is a steam shovel working on the Barge Canal. I guess we got to take their word for it. But you can see here, even with this, which is the most modern tech, which is a steam engine, driving a flywheel, which drives, these belts and everything that works this thing. It takes a couple of fellows to operate it. But here's what you're moving the dirt with the shovel. And then you're going to load it into this rickety wooden cart with a couple of horses pulling it. So how much weight can these haul away? I don't know, maybe 2 tons, maybe a ton. I don't know. I'm going to say a ton. 1,000 pounds. Is that 1,000 pounds? Or is it 2,000 pounds a ton? I'm going to say 1,000 pounds. Whatever 1,000 pounds is, maybe. I don't know. Is that a half ton? Is that a modern day half ton? Don't forget, metric tons in Canada land are different than United States tons. The tonnage is a Harding House in Wurtsboro, Soul County, I guess, New York. Wurtsboro, New York. Paymaster steamer, Old Delaware and Hudson Canal. It's a little steamer. It's a little paddle boat, I guess. You get this fancy little hotel here in the background. You can see all along here, underneath this gangway, there's look to be stones or something. It's kind of a terrible print, but a big stone stacked up over here too. Now, if you were here to see the little trailer prior to going live, I mean, a lot of it was shot from the perspective of the barge being pulled along the canal. So you're just seeing the horse's rear end, but that's basically what it is. There's a horse or a mule is tied to the barge and it's pulling them up and down. That's why you get these narrow streets and walkways or gangways on either side. I mean, these started off as just walkways or pathways, but eventually, because it's so convenient and close to be right next to the canal, if you had some kind of business where your goods are coming in through the waterways, it would make sense to have your business, put a street here and have your business right here, I reckon. But I think some of this stuff was already here. Like when you're looking at fancy stuff like this, and this nonsense here, I mean, this is beautiful. I think a lot of that, not to mention, again, some kind of masonry wall here. And then the infrastructure that goes around all of this too. Again, the footpath for the mule. If it goes through a tunnel, that footpath has to be built through that tunnel as well. You have to have a bunch of bridges. You have to have a bunch of places where you could tie off to load and unload goods or coal or people, passengers. It was taken August 5th, 1907. And that's at least when they sent this. SO, South Canal. South Canal Street, Whitehall, New York. Look at this. Looks like we have maybe a few different stages. Maybe there's some repair work done. And I think that's what we're talking about when they say, oh, they started in 1903 and finished in 1918. Or no, 19, whatever it was. I think a lot of it was just repairing, getting the locks in working order again. I mean, some of this you've got, grass, or weeds or whatever. It's been here long enough that it's got vegetation growing out of it, but then some of it looks tighter and newer. So maybe some repair work. And again, I'm just guessing, just speculating. A stone structure in the back here with some big smokestack on it. Bunch of big buildings in the back. This is Medina, New York. Never even heard of this place. Looks pretty neat, though. On the east from the canal. Dragon Sage says, I dabbled with calligraphy a little as a teen. Kathy Broughton says, my cursive writing is so bad, half the time I can't read my own writing. It's like a doctor with a prescription slip when they write you out a prescription. I don't know how the pharmacist knows. It's a good thing I'm not a big pill popper when it comes to ailments. I'm usually of the, some hot tea with lemon will fix it. You know what I'm saying? Hippie Shake says, love doing calligraphy when I did it art in school. Yeah. Baja says, I do a weird hybrid of cursive and delinean. Is that what that is? I mean, calligraphy is lovely, actually. That's something that I think is carried over, but it's becoming a lost art, you know, much like other things like canning, sewing. My nan taught me to sew because she said every young gentleman should at least know how to sew a button on his shirt. Should you lose a button, right? I want to walk around looking like a hobo with your, third button down is missing. Look at these big, massive, what I'm assuming are brick or stone or both buildings built right on the canal. And then here's your lock system. So you can see the water level just basically stops here. Looks like they have double locks. So they close this gate. They open this. Your barge comes in or your boat, whatever. Then these close and then they open up the next one and this lowers down and off you go. This is lock 55, Erie Canal, again in Lyons, New York. Down in the locks, aqueduct near Schenectady. I had to put this here just so I could get to say Schenectady. See, there's the lock behind. And you can see how, again, when you're building these locks connected to these canals as part of the infrastructure, you're not just building a 3-foot wall, a 5-foot wall. Like you're digging a 25-foot hole or trench with a 25-foot wall on either side that's going to be thick enough to hold back not only, the terra firma, but buildings, mules going up and down here, eventually cars. So eventually they built a railroad along here as they phased out the canals. So they say the reason that the canals in this barge system went out of favor was the canals made them obsolete. Although in that other article, they were saying that some went until the 1970s and one went until 1994. But that's fine. It's just a mix-up on the old narrative.
That doesn't make sense.
Roberto's saying, no way in hell we built these in the 1800s. Well, and if we did, it certainly took a hell of a lot longer than 13 years or, you know what I'm saying? Like even by today, even if we were to hop to it and do it today again, let's say this had never been done, it would take 13 years. Dock Street, again, Schenectady, New York. This was dated July 5th, 1895, it looks like, is when whoever wrote this. Come, let's have a sail. Lizzie. Dear Heather? It's let's have a sail, not let's have a sail. What's wrong with you, Lizzie? But again, massive buildings. What's this weirdo tech on here? You're telling me that it's supposed to be a flagpole? It's got no flag on it. It's pretty tall. Who's raising and lowering the flag by scurrying up the roof? Roof? like a squirrel. But that being said, you've got some pretty big structures here, all just built basically, within feet of the water. And again, big stones of some sort. You can see how wide this is. A lot of work. Look at these buildings. Beautiful. This is why I tried to find unaltered ones. This one, unfortunately, has been it's lithograph colorized. This is just a black and white version of it. But I couldn't find the original of this one. But I wanted to, and I'm tried to, because I think a lot of these are gone. And I think in the old photos, even if they're not gone today, they've been dumbed down. But in the old photos, you get to see all of this stuff. That even if they're standing today, this is gone. Look at this crazy looking place. Rounded here. This at one time was a castle or something. Or maybe had a conical dome on it. It's already been buggered with. Somebody's monkeyed around with it. But then here's your stone walls again. You can see how far down this has to go. And then this is dual canals again. Think that's easy? Look at this in the back. Really low windows. And then you've got, 10 feet? And then some kind of stone wall. And then your waterway. Big arched windows. These are big buildings made of brick or stone, or again, or both. This is the Erie Canal in the rear of the mills in Syracuse, New York. Kathy Broughton says, my 39-year-old niece can't read a map to save her life. Ooh, yeah, that's become a lost art too. People have gotten so reliant on GPS and all that sort of thing. Dragon Sage says, I'm mostly self-educated. It's kind of the way to go when you can, or like your granddaddy taught you, or your uncle taught you, or your dad taught you, or your grandmother, or your mama. You know what I'm saying? Like my dad taught me to ride a bike, but my uncle taught me to fish. My dad taught me to hunt. But like camping and building campfire, like I did that when I was a little kid with my cousins. Stuff that I still do today. Sure, you can go and take hunting courses and go on guided hunts. But it costs you a pretty penny, and it's not guaranteed anything. And it's not the same type of experience. You can buy a jar of jam at the grocery store. But is it as good as your homemade canned jam or what your mom or grandmom used to make? Probably not. Probably compared to it, it's probably absolute garbage. You know what I'm saying? This is the Erie Canal aqueduct crossing the Genesee River. So this they're calling the Genesee River, but earlier they said that it was the Genesee Canal. I think I might be misremembering that, but in one of the articles that we were looking at, I think in the Wikipedia article, but that's besides the point. Let's, for benefit of the doubt, argument's sake, this is the Genesee River. So this is an aqueduct. This isn't a road going over. This is the waterway going over another waterway. You think that's easy? And then there's your pathway that would pull the barge around. Look at this amazing stuff in the background, too. Wow. Rochester, man. Rochester. Do you know this place? I guess, Charlie. 8 Troy from Watervlet? It's not making any sense to me, but again, I'm a sheltered Canadian. What's going on here? Wow, look at this back here. Wow. And this, what the Sam Steele's going on over here, wherever this is. Wow, man. I bet you almost all of this is gone. Wow, Dragon Sage says, I keep paper maps in a Ziploc bag in my backpack while I'm traveling, just in case. Yeah. Yeah, I do the exact same thing. I've got a what I call an EDC, everyday carry. So when I'm doing a boots on the ground video, it's a smaller bag that I carry some of my gear in, like my collapsible gimbal, gloves, flashlight if it's a gloomier day and what have you, or depending on where I'm going. But then I got other stuff in there too, right? Some protection in the sense of, some kind of poking lock blade device to protect myself, and other stuff. And yeah, paper maps in a Ziploc bag, waterproof. Yeah. Then I've got a hunting bag, right, that I use just for hunting season, and that's got maps, but it's different maps, and those are in Ziploc bags. And then my hiking backpack. That's the way to do it. If you rely on, your personal device, these little things to tell you where you are. Well, what if that goes down? What if your battery dies? What if the interwebs goes down? Whatever. I don't know. You're not getting a signal out where you are. If you don't know how to use a map and to do some orienteering, you're in trouble. Canal Bridge at Brutus Street in Weedsport, New York. So sure, you get your, fair share of houses or little farms or whatever along the side of the canal. This is obviously where the horse is going back and forth here. But you still have these massive structures built all along here. Arched windows. Look at this fancy nonsense up here. Good on ya. Good on ya in Weedsport. And look how consistent the width is. Although I think at some points it becomes narrower and then gets wider, but at the points where you've got this straightaway like this, it maintains a consistent width. And again, you've got stone or something lining this thing. And you saw how deep it has to go when you get to a lock. Governor's Island, New York City. Statue of Liberty, October 13th, 1903. Left our baggage on the Savannah boat this a.m. Leave New York 3 p.m. All okay. I'm guessing this is the Savannah. No, it's a tugboat. I think that's a tug. No, it's not. And this is Governor's Island. Is that the brick star fort that's out in the, what is that, in the Hudson River or whatever? There's another shot of it. This steamer, asterisk, so here, is the General Slocum. Remember, on the 15th of June, 1904, so many lives were lost on it as it took fire. The whole city moved then and still hold a Memorial Day each year. The city erected a monument in Southern Cemetery for the dear lost ones. When you come to New York again, we will go there. Love to all. Whoops. Dang it. Settle down. Love to all. I don't know, Katie or something. Looks like it might say Katie. So there's your Statue of Liberty back there, and there's this thing. Old Castle, now Garden and Aquarium? Or Old Castle Garden, now Aquarium? No, Old Castle, now Garden plus Aquarium. Or is that just an X marks the spot? Oh, it's an X marks the spot. Okay. What is this place? I don't know. Forgive me, New Yorkers. This too built right on the water. Not a problem. What's this place? Like, this is just where your boat comes in to unload, I don't know, your widgets. Got a fresh order of widgets for you for the city. Incredible. Unloading coal from canal boats, Fultonville, New York. Again, you get these massive stones. Got a barge tied here. There's sort of a gangplank. This looks like a pathway, so maybe it's wide enough for barges to go in two directions. So you had mule on this side and on this side. Village Georgie? I don't know. William Georgie? William Georgie, maybe, is the name of this craft. Okay. They're unloading coal. They're bringing coal all the way up to this loft. Okay. Seems odd, considering buildings like this look like what's a coal chute here. Some of these railings. These little... I mean, this has to be threaded or what have you, but cut and angled and welded at the correct angle to meet the next one down for this railing, for these stairs to go over this little pedway. You know what I mean? Like, if you get this 2 degrees off at this end, 5 feet or 6 feet down or whatever is the next one, you're going to be off by a few inches. But a lot of these barges look like they would tie up more in, smaller towns or what have you. This one's not labeled. My apologies. I have no idea where this is, but looks like they got Giuseppe to come a stack of a brick, and no problem. I stack it a brick for you. And then I'll just even put, a row of brick above each arched window to make this eyebrow effect. That doesn't take any extra time at all. All this beauty, and then we're going to hide it with this crappy awning. Nice. This I can get behind. Some wooden buildings, wood frame buildings, 2-story, 1 floor. Sure, fine. But this is more closely connected to the old canal system, pre-reset, I think, than this stuff. This comes later. But they'll tell you that this was older and this is newer. But it's actually, I think, the other way around. Waterford, New York. Lift bridge. Ah, yeah. See, then you've got this kind of shenanigans too, where you've got drawbridges, or in this case, the whole platform lifts. I don't know what it's for. It looks like it might just be for pedestrians to cross the canal. It's down, but then when a barge is coming through, they've got to lift it. Maybe it's for a trolley or a train as well. It's hard to say. I don't know. But it's quite complicated. This is quite the engineering. It's amazing stuff. I find this fascinating. What do you think? Of course, the barge called the Wonder of New York. What are you hauling there, bub? Is that a keg? You got beer in there, bud? Share that stuff there, eh? There's a canal in the background here. This is delivering tobacco. Somethingsville, New York in 1897. I'm not sure. I can't make that out. My apologies. Look at this wagon train, man. You got a stone foundation here. Look, the ground level is higher here than it is down here. And it goes right down to the water, to the canal. And again, what do we have here? What is this stuff? What are we doing with this here? I don't get, like, okay, there's some flags. Sure. Same building's got this on it though. But this is just, what is this used for? What's the purpose? We're at, obviously it's 1897, horse and buggy stage. And you got to do this. That is absolutely amazing to me. You know what I mean? But I always say this. It's not that I don't appreciate it. I appreciate the extra work, the beauty. But why? I thought everybody was having a tough go of it here in the 1880s, 1890s, even in New York State.
Let me ask you something. How come you asking so many jackassy questions?
So here they got the double lock system. So you can see how it works here. You know, they open this, your barge comes in, they close it, then you go down. They close it behind you. And then they open this one, and you go down. It's like stairs. So it's quite the feat of engineering as well. And again, it's because, I mean, you can't send the stuff down the rapids. You know, what is this, the 1650s up around Hudson Bay, Canada, where they're just putting beaver pelts on a raft and sending it down the river with their fingers crossed? You know, I mean, if they can accomplish all of this engineering, it's quite spectacular. But then the thing I'm noticing here too is that, I mean, again, you've got some kind of wall, and then your walkway here, or your mule, and even it's wide enough for people. And you've got stairs here, and then you've got this big, massive building just built into the side of this hill covered in trees and shrubbery. Shrubbery, eh? Shrubbery. And what's going on up here? Big arch here, stone. This looks weird. Forgive me, it gets a little picoulated when I zoom in, but you know, you get the idea. There's something going on there. So you got to take all of this into effect with that 13-year timeline for the build of this thing. Hello, dear. Are you still laughing? On to be here, or are you still? I don't know what that says. Ought to be here and see Bert from around this busy corner some evening when he has a good jag. It's supposed to be job. Jag on jag off. I don't know what's going on. I've lost it. But this is east view from Clinton Street, the Clinton Street Bridge. Syracuse. Syracuse was off the hook, man. Anybody from Syracuse? Let me know. Is it still like this? I gotta have a closer look at Syracuse and Rochester. I'm sure many of channel have done it, and it's been done dozens, if not hundreds of times already, but just for my own curiosity's sake. You can see I much prefer this unaltered photo style, rather than something like this from a lithograph, unfortunately. So who knows what they've done to the background. They painted in clouds, and who knows what they've done, right? At least here you're getting the raw deal. Look how high up this canal is compared to, I guess, what they're calling the river. This is Oswego, New York. It's a crazy bridge. Again, it's massive structures. Like, does the canal go under this? Does it go around it? I don't understand. This is so difficult. All these walls. You got to hold back this water too, you know, like. Canada Dummy in the box. Good to see you. Dirty old town. Yeah. Got a lot of dirt. A lot of shrubbery. Not a lot of trees. Industrial part of the city or something. New York City Railroad Bridge, Lockport, New York. So, I mean, look at this. I mean, this photo says it all. You've got a stone structure here with arched windows and some kind of smokestack or something. You've got stone structures with chimneys or smokestacks up on top of this hill, I'm guessing. You've got this stone wall here all the way along for the canal. You've got this stone support for this railway bridge. Then look at this in the back, another bridge, and then this. Because apparently you go around the corner and there's probably a couple of locks to raise your barge up. Or if you're coming down, then obviously to lower it. Let's think how many times they had to do something like this. And oh yeah, we just did it in 13 years with horses and wagons. Maybe the odd steam shovel. So you can see it's narrower here, but I mean, it's just as much of a bother because they've got to keep it a consistent width. And it's all of this stonework or whatever that is. You know, where are we here? Is that GUEIDA? I don't know what that says. Forgive me. 1906. Some little town in New York State, anyways. Look at this. Doesn't matter where. Some place you never heard of. All the buildings have the same sort of hallmarks. And then there's some kind of infrastructure. I mean, they tell me that we built all of this for 500 miles or for whatever it was, the Erie Canal. With this kind of primitive technology. This isn't even a crane. It's just a hoist. This is like block and tackle. It's like a pulley with a crappy hemp rope. Yeah, I'm just going to tie up some whatever we're unloading here. Tobacco. Or I don't know, whatever. With the mule and the cart standing by ready. But somehow they managed to, and not just this one canal either. You know, there was 4 or 5 different canals plus a bunch of smaller tributary canals, and then things that they call rivers that most of us know are probably canals. Again, this one's been touched up just to add some highlights and contrast, but gives you an idea of what we're dealing with here. Looks like at one time, as mentioned with, I think in the old world, waterways were considered, you know, highways or modes of travel rather than a hindrance. You can see a lot of the old world structures are built right on the canal or in very close proximity to it. Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Horse or mule pulling the barge up and down the canal. through the locks and everything. That's why all the canals have a pedway or a walkway or a narrower street on at least one side. Whitehall, New York. How are you making out with the papers? How are you, Rob Ryan? Kiss and then kiss, kiss, kiss. It's very kissy. I think this is very. Look at this freaking. What do we got up in here? What? Hello, hi, howdy. What's that up there? Just a castle, just in the side of this hill. Oh, fine, no problem. Just in Whitehall. Never heard of Whitehall. Look at this place. A lot of these bridges had a hotel right next to the bridge, like it was some big deal to have a bridge crossing the canal here. So we'll build a hotel here. I could see a hotel going up where the locks are, because there's a guy who operates the locks, and it's kind of a choke point in the sense that it takes a while to go through the lock system. Yeah, exactly. Just a castle. It's no big deal. You know, it's just right up there on the side of this hill.
It was super easy, barely an inconvenience.
Erie Canal Aqueduct. Oh, we saw this already. So nice we get to see it twice. So this is the canal going over another canal that they're calling a river. And then there's your pedway for the mule or the horse to pull the barge. And it wasn't exclusively barges. Again, it was pleasure boats, canoes, foot paddle boats, small steam or later diesel or gasoline operated paddle boats. But I think the majority was, this kind of thing, a barge that would be pulled. Look at this wacky shenanigans. Woo. Yeah, that's easy to do. Again, all the stonework or masonry work. And it's got to be strong enough and thick enough to, again, you've got these 4 or 5 story buildings, within 10 feet of the water. So not only holding back the land, you got to be strong enough to hold back the weight of all these buildings. Look at this in the back. Hello. Probably a customs house or something. This is Syracuse. Shouldn't be surprised. Yeah, where's all the sod houses? Well, we did see a couple of wood frame houses, so that's something at least. No Lincoln's log cabin, though. Definitely a lot of digging out. I would agree, Mr. Infinite. Yes, I would definitely agree. S.W. Cohen's Big Store in Sprackers, New York. Is that what says? Sprackers. Never heard of it. Cohen washing machine sold on its merits. Just going to lean this sign up right up here, put it on the sidewalk here and lean it up against the post outside my building, so that when people are going by and they're sitting down into the barge, it's at eye level. That's what you call clever marketing for these crappy wooden painted signs. Cohen's Big General or Big Canal, Cohen's Big Canal Store. Ground feed, cut hay, iron tonic. Oh my. Little liver pills. There you go. Carter's, even the good stuff. Carter's iron tonic. This guy's got it all right here. Old World 7-Eleven. Old World Piggly Wiggly. Look at these stones. Somebody just stacked all that, and they dug down and they had to line it with all of these stones, both sides. Keep it a consistent width. for dozens and if not hundreds of miles. Does this look like sunset? Was this Jillian? August 5th, 07. Did we look at this already too? We may have. Oh yeah, South Canal Street. Oh look, it's an omnibus. It's bus shaped, but it's a wagon that's pulled by a horse. It's like a stretch version of a stagecoach. It's like a stretch limo, but made out of a stagecoach. It was a bus. It pulled by two horses. The locks at Lockport, New York. Yeah, see, look at this. Boom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 locks. Boom, 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 boom. Walls, stone. Amazing. And then there's your pathway for your mule. No doubt one on this side too, actually, because it's double locks. Look at this way up here. They're holding back all of this. This is all stone too on an angle. Engineering, man. I'm telling you. Whitehall, New York. There's that building again. It looks like it's missing a conical dome or something. Stacked brick all along here. They just built some crappy shack on the side of it. Looks absolutely idiotic. We got this big beauty back here too. Amazing. Very industrial looking, to say the least. Oh, there you go. There's a lock. Wally Metz in the box. Howdy, neighbor. Down in Montana land. Good to see you. Yeah, that's right. They did it for Uncle Sam. They did it to, manifest destiny, push westward, make major advancements in the modern industrial age in America. So it was, they did it without any problems. Beech nut. 1911-ish. It says about. About. See, there you go. There's a couple of folks in a canoe, a couple of fellas. Maybe they're going fishing. Good on you, boys. Have fun. But look at the size of this, built right on the water. You can see this is just a dock here. So maybe this curves a little bit, and then there's another big, massive structure. And then one big one in the back here, too. So you better make sure that this is good and strong, is what I'm getting at. I may be repeating myself here, but this is flabbergasting to a guy. Whitehall again. Yeah, see more stone with bridges. Look at this. What's going on here? Hi. Beautiful. Lockport, New York. Canal work. Looks like they're adding a second lock here. So see, they got to try to hold back all of this water. And it's still just shooting in there. That's not so great. Look at all this back here. Man, this looks similar to what we just looked at. I guess that proves my point. Then here you go. So you've got your retaining wall for your canal, but then you've got this massive wall made out of stones. And then what do we have here? This is coming down to this level, so these go underneath this, I guess, but wow-wee. So there's all kinds of lower structure underneath all this. Incredible. Yeah, see, here you go. Bridge Hotel and Grand Theater at Frankfort, New York. So just where your bridge goes over the canal, oh, we'll just put a hotel and a theater here. I mean, I guess it's as good a place as any. I mean, this is going to be the crossing point where people are going to cross over the canal, but I'm sure it's not the only bridge in town. Maybe it is. I don't know. Channel 53 in the boxes. I'm kind of dreading FIFA World Cup coming to Atlanta. Gonna be whack almost for sure. Oh, yeah. Yep. I agree with Kathy. It'll be a mess. It will be a mess. Again, this is all stone, by the way. Not to sound like a broken record. Same as all of this. Then they just built a big, massive 3-story brick building that takes up, quarter of a city block. Again, this, this kind of wooden stuff, sure. When I see an old brick building with a lot of this extra attention to detail, I think pre-reset, and then especially when I see shacks on the side of it, built onto the side of the place. This is a shack that you go into, and there's stairs built down into the ground on the outside of the building so they can get into the lower level. Because I think that this used to go down further, even on the side of a canal. There's a whole, as we all know, underground infrastructure underneath a lot of these places, whether it be tunnels, whether it be lower floors, whether it be underground waterway systems or old forgotten subway systems. Passageways underneath streets from one building to the other. And they're forgotten because they're even below modern sewage and water pipes and telecommunications wires and all of that stuff. Like some of it goes quite deep down. Along the Black River Canal, Port Layden, New York. So again, even just this little tiny little place. This looks like wooden beams, though, at least instead of stone. But I mean, they had to stack stone and build all of this here for this bridge. Jin is what's probably a little one-horse town. This is probably the biggest deal that happened to these people all week, all month. Hey, there's a guy here to take a picture. Come on, girls, get out on the bridge. One extreme to the other now. We've got New York and the beautiful Brooklyn Bridge. Man, this is an amazing bridge. To this day, it's a favorite of mine. Just outstanding. Look at the sailboat going underneath, and the paddle boats here. So, of course, the river is considered part of the waterway system because a lot of the canals and the tributary canals connect to the East River. New York State Barge Canal, Brockport, New York. Look at this funny little bridge. This zigzaggy paint job here is, I guess it's like a warning, caution. But this definitely, is this just a stationary bridge, or is it one of those? It looks like it might be one of those bridges that lowers. Because there's a road here, and it looks like a road here. So if the bridge is up, there's stairs so that if you're walking, you can just keep going. Whereas if you're driving, or if you got your horse and buggy or on horseback or whatever, in a carriage, stagecoach, whatever, then you got to wait. Is that what's happening here? I'm not really entirely sure. Ubicon in the box. Good to see you, bud. How you doing? Look at this. North Canal Street and Champlain Canal, Whitehall, New York. Look at this entire row of beauty. Just one after the other, after the other, after the other. Look at all this. Wow. Exquisite. Mansard style roof with these crazy detailed, super complicated dormers here too. And in the background here, and then look up here, and then way back. Come on, man. Wow. This place is something else too, man. Whitehall, New York. This is incredible for a ignorant Canadian like myself. Wow. I mean, you see stuff like this in Quebec City or Montreal too, though, but you know, Whitehall, at least to me, is not as well known, I don't think. It's just unexpected is all. I shouldn't be surprised. Hotel Claremont and Riverside Park with the Hudson River. It's quite lovely. Is this a road? Okay, this is a road. I was going to say, is this another aqueduct? The canal? But no, it's the road. This is the canal here. And then this is the river. So this bridge is going over the canal here. Horses and horse and carriage, horse and buggy. These barges, some of them are pretty fancy, pretty big too. Double deckers. You could get like 1,000 people on that thing. Main and Sanders Street from the canal in Whitehall, New York. There's that. Look at this. We got an old stone wall here that's got some vegetation growing out of it. And then it slopes upward here to this stone to support this bridge going over here. And all this in the background. Wow. Beautiful. Not to mention, again, the whole canal. It's got to be consistent. Life on the Erie Canal in Durhamville, New York. I think that one I couldn't read earlier. Maybe that's what it said. It's Durhamville. Look at the gangway here, and they're just loading these horses, or are they mules? It's a mule. Loading the mules on or off of these. Looks like on. Flour and feed mills. See how everything is just built along the canal. So Ross, water the tree. I think in Kansas City, a lot of places that you're finding ruins right close to what they call, the Blue River, which was probably an old canal. I think at one point it may have been something like this. And then, you have the hills in behind, and you have a drive that goes in behind. You have a canal with some structures. Then you have a drive behind the structures with those drives that angle up into those estate homes. All very closely associated with these waterways, in my opinion. This thing's cool as hell, man. This lift bridge. Look at this thing. So yeah, whether it's up or down, as a pedestrian, you can just cross. The hell that I ain't waiting. Barge is coming. So boop, 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 boop. See ya. Meanwhile, you got a horse, or look, the tram, the trolley. There's tracks here. So the trolley or the tram even goes over this. There's a car going over it. Okay, cool. Where are we at here? I'm sorry, I can't make that out. Can't quite read it. Cash Grocery and Market. Why not now? There's 1920s graffiti. Or why pot now? Washburn Crosby's Gold Milled flour, something like that. Yeah, look at this in the back. I just noticed this. I just noticed this. Wow. What does this say? Say $3 fine? Riding or driving this bridge. Something faster than a walk. I'm having trouble making that out. That's a goofy sign. Anyway, back to this crazy thing. Look at this. Look at the mechanics involved in this. Because they got to raise and lower this whole platform. So, this just goes up. There you go. Bradley Johnson's here. Good to see you, bud. How you doing? Thank you very much for joining. Appreciate it. Look at this shot. That's from the thumbnail, I believe. No idea where this is. Again, my apologies. Oh, this is, okay. This is another angle of the aqueduct or the canal going over a canal. See, they call this the river in some cases, but in some cases a canal. But it's clearly a canal because here's a stone wall with a building on it and more stone here. So it's, again, it's a structured shoreline or bank, if you will. Just incredible. And then there's your pedway for your mule or horse to pull the barge here or this way here. Incredible. And then again, all this beauty in the background. Burke and White Bookbinders, Andrews Printing Company. What does this say? Lawyers, something publishing company. You can see it's brick buildings and it gets down to this point, and then it's stone wall and the canals are right there. Imagine the pressure on those walls. That's some amazing, amazing engineering. Howdy, Ryan. Says, OMG, they hid this stream from me this whole time. Just now finally shows up. I'm not surprised. Sorry to hear that, but I am not surprised. But welcome. It's good to see you. Erie Canal and Main Street Bridge in Newark, New York. So again, you get your barge loaded with tobacco or coal or, I don't know, ladies' umbrellas. You got to take it up to one of these businesses or to the depot maybe. Well, you just have it on your barge and you just tie a rope to a mule and the mule just walks along here, clippity-clop, and pulls you along the canal. Then when the barge is coming back, and there's one on the other side, clippity-clop. The stone substructure here. And then we're just going to build these massive buildings right on the waterfront. Not worried about the extra pressure and the weight on the canal at all. Erie Canal and Hoist Bridge in Canastota, New York. I'm probably butchering that. My apologies. Again, I'm just a very naive Canadian. Pardon my naivete. You know what I mean when I'm saying naivete?
I can't understand a word you said the whole time.
Do you eat some peanut butter or something?
Yeah, you sound like a dog with peanut butter on the roof of your mouth.
I think what you are hearing is my accent. I am French.
All right, we're getting close to the end of the file here. I hope you're enjoying it. Thank you very much for sticking with me here. Again, some photos are better than others. You know, if I couldn't find another one like this of the original photo, I had to go with the, which looks like lithographs from the original photograph printed onto a postcard. I prefer this, the actual photo printed on a card. Some of these are quite exquisite. You can see here it looks like stone or something along here. And then they just carve a layer of schmutz and smooth it out, make it into a concrete sidewalk. And you've got stone lower half of this building. Stone wall here to support this bridge. And it just keeps going all the way down. 500 and something miles. What was it? According to the Wikipedia. Thank you. Kinley Jackson. KJ says, loving this, Frankie. Kathy Broughton, I'm enjoying the photos. Thank you. Good, good. I'm glad you're enjoying them. Erie Canal in Rome, New York. Yeah, look how wide it has to be. Guy with his horse and cart doing something back here. I'll just look at this mud-flooded building here. Look at this big old beauty built right here. Just steps away. All mud-flooded. Another one back here. Again, these, 2 or 3 story wood frame style. Sure, I get it. That makes sense. It's these big stone and brick ones. Built in, a year on a canal that was built in, a decade. Look at this built right beside this big rock. Is that just a big rock? On the side of a hill, like a rock outcropping that just keeps going down and down. And this too, it's all part of the same thing. And then this building is just built right beside it. And this one. What's this sticking out of here? Ooh, what this is Barge Canal locks in Whitehall, New York. They put their goofy water container tower on the top. That's got to be an afterthought because it looks redonkulous up there on top of this beautiful thing where they've gingerbreaded around all the arched windows and stuff. And then you got this big water tank up here. Get out of here. But this is very strange. I really don't understand what's happening here completely.
What the hell is going on around here?
Winter mooring in the harbor. This is Somethingston. I don't know what it is. Again, my apologies to New Yorkers. Ship chandlery? Okay, I don't even know what that means. Look at this. Look at this fancy place. Probably an opera house or a theater or something, you know what I mean? This is what we're building, right? With this crooked stove pipe for a chimney. It's even got it wired in to hold it straight, and it still ain't straight, buddy. Where does curling come from? I think it's Scottish. I think. I'm not entirely sure, but I think it's Scottish. I think. Bird's eye view showing falls and Erie Canal in Medina, New York. Yeah, because this nice, easy curve going over something, this canal, it's super easy to do. Got another canal here with waterfalls. You can bet at one time this was a lock. This had a lock. There's a reason why there's a big structure here. Because this canal or aqueduct is going over another canal that's coming here. And they've just put a wall here, and they've basically have it as a waterfall now. But you can bet at one time that this was a lock, and you would come around and go down one lock, or maybe two. Empire Couch Company. And somehow I don't think this was originally built to be a couch factory. Call me crazy. Syracuse. Come on, man. Crazy. That's beautiful. I had no idea. I had no idea. Aye, lad, if he's not Scottish, it's crap. Ryan saying, bet you it was built with huge blocks by giants, maybe. Well, some of those blocks that line the canal walls are huge. And again, those walls have to be pretty thick for all of that pressure. Seneca Canal and woolen mills in Waterloo, New York. Oh, the wool mills, of course. Gotta have your woolen mills beside the canal. It'd be the same thing in the UK or in Ireland and Scotland when we're talking wool. This big beauty back here. But yeah, there's a lock here. All this infrastructure. All of these cities and towns. And just all of a sudden, well, the train made the canals obsolete. Now they're only used for pleasure boaters, mostly. Well, we didn't make the canals obsolete. Obviously, people who had businesses adjacent to canals did quite well with the canals. Why would we want to get rid of that easy, low-impact system? Don't get me wrong, I love trains. I love trains just as much, if not more, than the next guy, especially the old steam locomotives. But I think that they were, at some points, working in conjunction with one another. I think the old steam locomotive trains on rails is also an older tech, a pre-reset tech, much like the canal systems. I think somehow maybe they worked together, and then we come along and we go, oh, we'll just tow these barges with mules up and down these canals because we're a bunch of double dumbasses. You know what I mean?
We are laughing.
Broadway from the bridge, Whitehall, New York. Look at, see? What in the heck is going on here? Wow, that's pretty fancy. It's beautiful. But yeah, you've got all the stone. So this is your street level, which is actually a viaduct. It's just a raised street built on top of a wall. With some old stone structure there. And you got a bridge going across here. Then you've got another wall here. You got rail here. And then another stone wall here for your canal. Looks like you could have buildings and stone. This is that stone outcropping again, I think. Yeah, so there's something hanky going on with this situation too. You might have structures built on top of more ancient structures here as stuff was being rediscovered. Oh, yeah. And then, of course, thank you, KJ. Yes, the castle in the sky. Can't forget the castle in the sky. Barge Canal work in Newark, New York, 1911. So there's your steam shovel made out of iron and just wood. And it's usually on a rail car, although not always. It's like on a flatbed rail car. You run a temporary rail line in, you bring it into your job site, it digs what it's got to dig, and Robert's your mother's brother. But they didn't have this when they started the old canal in the 1800s. That's for damn sure. Oh, yeah, this is where the Erie Canal flooded in Schenectady, 1914. So somebody was goofing around because didn't they say in that Wikipedia article that canals today are only pretty much used for the most part by pleasure boaters, and they're only open from May until whatever it was, November or whatever. And the other use was as flood control. Obviously not very effective with flood control because they're not designed for that. Look at this. Just all the people have gathered on the bridge with their umbrellas to watch the canal overflow, I guess. What's going on way up here? That's interesting. This is beautiful too. Portal. This multi-angled side of this building. Come on, man. And then again, you can stone going down, arch window way down here. It's amazing what you can see, you know. This is that beech nut factory again. In what is this? Kanajohari? I don't even know what that is. Kanajomari, New York? Kanajomari? Is that what that is? Right now, people are yelling at their computer monitors and furiously typing on their keyboards. Frankie, you idiot. Who is this guy? What is wrong with him? Can't he read?
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Junction of Erie and Oswego Canals in Syracuse. Again, it's a photo that's been altered so they can paint in some beautiful clouds and whatnot, but I mean, at least we can see. Again, it looks almost like there's two stages here. We have this stage and then this other stage. Maybe some different building material. I don't know. You got to put all these curves in, or different tributary canals all intersect with your main Erie Canal. Hence, you know, your junction point here. Super complicated. And then all these bridges. This is that whoop-de-woo one for your mule. Unbelievable. Look at all these little bobules up here on this. What's going on back here, man? Think we wouldn't notice that, eh? Huh? You thought that would just be sitting back there and we just wouldn't even see it.
Thought we wouldn't notice, but we did.
Erie Canal and Peterborough Street in Canastota, New York. Canastota B? Is this their newspaper? Awfully fancy. I think I'm just beating a dead horse with the point I'm trying to make of just all the stone work and infrastructure and pathways and raising bridges and all of this. It's not just digging out a trench and filling it with water and then boom, there's your Erie Canal. Yeah. Boss, it's funny to think about beech nut being in New York. Yeah, it's kind of like, where's this salsa made? It says it's made in New York City. Used to be an old salsa commercial up here in Canada. Clinton Square showing old courthouse. That's a courthouse? Wow. Exquisite. Not to mention all this going on in the back. Mansard roof on this tower. And then you've got some kind of elongated dome here with some kind of crazy tech going on top. Trolley. A couple of horses and buggies. And then there's your canal. Right in the heart of the action. What's this guy doing? Mowing the lawn? Well, good on you, bud. Hello. Hello, Doctor something, address 212 Townsend Street. Anyways, it's Syracuse, New York. Here's another shot of the locks. Again, you can see that's what they do is it's pen and ink, or it might even be a fine paintbrush and ink just to darken some of the lines to give contrast. So it is an altered, it's a photo that was altered to be printed on a postcard. They generally will make the sky look all fluffy as well, but it still gives us an idea of what we're talking about here with some of these lock systems. Not easy. What the heck is this? That might be a moonlight or a moon tower, where it would reflect the moonlight down into the town square, as opposed to having a bunch of little gas lights or later electric lights. You would just, it had a big, like, sort of a lens on it that would capture the moonlight and reflect it down. My nan remembers London having one of those, or at least in the neighborhood she lived in London. Brooklyn, New York, the something company. So that's who printed it. The Locks in Lockport. Very appropriate name. You got guys here on canoes or something. Pretty amazing. And that wraps up that file. What a way to end it. Went a little overtime on that. Apologies for that. Getting ready to wind this thing down here very, very shortly. Before we do, again, as a reminder, a couple of projects coming up. The director's cut that I've got to redo and re-upload of Reset 1700, my mudflood documentary. That'll be coming up here as summer approaches. As mentioned earlier, myself and cousin Vinny, Unfreemason in the box, Vincent, he and I are working on a project behind the scenes about some goofy narrative around an old school that they recently tore down. A bunch of other stuff, as always. Every Wednesday, vintage footage. Friday, boots on the ground. Back here Sunday for the live show. So before I go, I'd like to leave you with a couple of laughs, a couple of silly laughs here. What have I got for you? Well, here's the reason why I gave you that last vintage footage video with snow, because this was me on Wednesday the 25th. Well, this was my walk to work this morning. We're almost, a full week into spring? Nope, not really. Yeah, so that's some of the nonsense that I had to deal with. So as mentioned, I got to go through it. I'm taking you down with me. But yeah, I mean, you could still have a little bit of fun at the tail end of winter, especially as, because it's not freezing cold. I mean, it's not minus 30 or anything. Just got a little bit of snow. So you can still get out there. The days are, quote, the days are longer, right, after daylight savings time. So it's not dark at 4 in the afternoon around here. So you can get out and do stuff like this, I guess. Why not? It's typical Canadian winter activity, or early spring. course, it didn't help us get any gold medals in the Winter Olympics, but now's not the time or the place to gripe. Good on you, Americans, for beating it. It's our game, you know. But I mean, we're pretty used to it with the snow, though. We can gut it out. I found some lost footage of Dragon Sage making his way to the corner store to get some more supplies. No, actually, this is way up in Alert, way up in the Nunavut, up in the Northwest Territories, Nunavut Territory, up by the Arctic Circle. Check this out. There he is. That was mine is the beard. That guy didn't have a beard, but it would be like, hey, that's Dragon Sage in Newfoundland, heading to the convenience store to get supplies. Yeah, that's some pretty hardcore stuff, right? Baja in the box saying Nunavut's hardcore. Yeah, yeah. All right. What else have I got here? Oh, yeah. Last one. This is a meme I made from a couple of other memes that basically I took other people's hard work and passed it off as my own.
No, no, no,
You only got about 260 some more days until winter's back around again. You got stuff like that to look forward to. So watch out for all you commuters that take the train to work in the morning. All right, so there you go. That is going to seal the deal here for Frankie, New West Reset, and New West Reset Live, episode 164, Canals and Waterways of New York State, 1899 to 1914. Again, links below for the dcmny.org website, where you can look at a bunch of archived photos and other stuff. And that's where we found these old photographs in postcard form, as well as a link below for the Wikipedia about the New York State canal system. There's a playlist down there for my vintage footage videos, as well as where you can still see the original Reset 1700 mud flood documentary over on Rumble. And again, thank you to everybody on YouTube and Rumble for joining me for the live. My location map, courtesy of Cousin Vinny down there. Link for that as well. Shows you every place I've done boots on the ground, eh? Some of them have been torn down since, so glad I got them when I did. And again, as a reminder, BitChute, email. You can get a hold of a fella if you got some show ideas, or if you want to have a chat. You know, I have a series called New West Reset Chill Chat as well, where I've sat down and chatted with other folks in the community. So yeah, if you ever want to sit down and have a chat, you got some cool stuff you want to share, by all means, just send me a line, drop me a message, hit me with a comment, and I'll definitely get back to you, and we can definitely hammer something out for sure. Donations to the channel. Thank you, everybody, for your kind donations. PayPal link down in the description box below. Certainly not necessary. I have a job, I work, I'm doing all right, but it's definitely greatly appreciated. A lot of people express interest in wanting to support the channel, just in terms of, they know, travel expenses, getting around the city, keeping up with newer and better gear for the channel. I'm actually looking at a couple. I'm kicking around it's between a couple of new gimbals here I'm kind of looking at, because mine's already year and a half old. It's got some mileage on it. It doesn't like the cold. So it's gotten wonky on me. So yeah, donations go to the channel. New mics, new gimbals, all kinds of stuff. So thank you very much. If you send me a PayPal donation and you would like to share your mailing address, I'll keep it secret. I'll keep it under my hat. But as a thank you for your donation, I'll send you a New West Reset t-shirt or a Shenanigans t-shirt or a New West Reset Schmutz trucker hat. Let me know your preference, your size, your mailing address. You don't have to pay for shipping or nothing. It's my way of thanking you for your support. All right? And with that, that is going to seal the deal here for Frankie. New West Reset and New West Reset Live. We'll see you next Sunday. Until then, take care out there. Have yourselves a good one, everyone. Thanks a lot. Bye. Cheers.
It's a mystery. It's a mystery wrapped in a riddle inside an enigma.